Let's start with a prayer. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyoti Gamaya Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti. Oh Mother, hold our hand. Take us from unreal to real. Take us from darkness of ignorance to the light of wisdom. Take us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace. Chair. May the Divine Mother hold our hands and take us across. This is a beautiful journey. We all are being specially brought together by the Divine Grace. We are very proud of our name, form, and function, the body, and with which we are taking up this journey onto this so-called samsara. Today we wish to take up a little journey on world of our imagination. There is a beautiful statement by G.K. Chesterton. He says, if only the hammer of the Supreme God can come and shatter the little cosmos that we hold on to around us, how much happier we will be. This is the world that you're talking about. So there are two kind of understandings of the world over today. One is that belief of the Tao type of religion, and the other is that type of religion. This is what the confusion has come about. The ancient India, thousands of years ago, particularly 1400 years ago, Shankaracharya chose 10 Upanishads. And there is a little doubt about the 11th one. Muktika Upanishad talks about 108 Upanishads. But he chose these 10. We have talked about their names, Ishwakrina Kathao, like that, it goes on to 10 Upanishads. The 11th one is Shvetashvara Upanishad, which is a little doubtful whether it is actually he wrote or who wrote it. Now, in this, the beauty is what pains me today is paining lots of people, like all of you, that David Chalmers in NYU, New York University, is doing research on the consciousness. And he had a wonderful conflicting debate with his contemporary, who said, David Chalmers talked about hard facts of consciousness. Soft fact of consciousness, we are all aware, we are seeing, and the neuroscientist, neurosurgeon, they're saying this consciousness unit is nothing else but a byproduct of the brain, which is like our mind and then the consciousness. So David Chalmers, Australian philosopher, he's saying, how can a physical material create an absolutely non-physical experience called first-person experience? Let's say you go to the airport, the door opens. electronically. That's mechanical. You go and take a Google car. You're driving, Google car is driving next to you. Both of you doing the same function. Possibly the Google car is driving better than us. But that first person experience of, wow, what a beautiful Californian road. I feel so good. That feeling is, how can it be a hard material kind? So that, what is it which is the driving force of this universe is today, but it's about 20, 25, 30 years maximum, when the Western scientists are waking up and saying, it cannot be all only brain, matter, and the body. It's something else. And what is that? Today, you must be aware that Harvard is doing study called School of Divinity on this, and combining all the religions and putting them together and bringing across the power of Vedanta. But what saddens me is that we Indians don't know anything about Vedanta. And that's how we have taken up this little journey to talk about Upanishads and Vedanta and share and follow it up and crystallize it in our life itself. Ned Block, New York University. Evan Thompson, Waking, Dreaming, Being, professor of Columbia University, British Columbia in Canada. He's talking about Mandukya Upanishad. And the beauty is that here he is quoting that our history should not be judged by AD and BC. It should be judged by before Upanishad and after Upanishad. Imagine the Westerners, T.S. Eliot, he is in his poetry, in his manuscript, which he used to write, on the side column, he's made notes of which part of the Upanishad. He was one of the greatest collector of Indian ancient Upanishad, Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita. And he goes on to make a comment that our Western philosophers are just schoolboys compared to what the India taught 1,000 years ago. So what amazes me is that everybody in the Western world has woken up and we Indians are still hiding behind, and we are wanting to be cool Americans. What we are trying to say, he talks about that if you want to know what is an Indian, what is especially Hindu Indian, they're talking about being. Notice he's talking about being. Waking, dreaming, being. Mandukya Upanishad, Jagrat, Sapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. It's talking about being. So he's saying Indians are talking about being, and we, the Westerners and Americans, we are talking about doing. So if you look at the Western world is what? By doing. The journey of Swami Vivekananda, 1893, 11th of September, Chicago World Conference, first time brought India to the world map. And the beautiful is that story which I share with everybody, that little story about Hari the lion. Wonderful story. Just imagine 1893 is 54 years before the independence. 1947 independence. And that time, that is during the independence time, we were called Kalus and slave in our own country. And the Britishers is called Gora Sahab and Bada Sahab and fair skin. Today also, if you go to a school and if you sit, let's say, see me sitting with dhoti kurta, and you will say, he is the president. Let's go to a school where there is fair skin, blonde hair, wearing suit. So that being has gone away and doing has come in. And strangely, Oprah Winfrey on her Friday show is saying, how can you live without meditation? And that too, she's talking about mindfulness meditation, which is contemporary of Buddhist meditation, translated today billion-dollar organizations in the world. And Vedanta Ashram, 1893 he went, 1894 he started Swami Vivekananda in NYU, the first. Today there are 18 Vedanta ashrams, that is the study centers, all over in the US. In India, you can see, when yesterday only it happened, there was a young couple came down, they came from Bangalore all the way, came to hear about our school, came and sat down, and must be good Samaritan, good people, they're genuinely good people, but ignorant. I asked them, tell me, he said, how do you introduce this Vedanta to schooling? I said, very simple, tell me, what is Indian national flag? You can recognize it? He said, yes. I said, you can recognize Indian national pillar, Ashok Stamba? He said, yes. I said, what's written on it? He said, I don't remember. I said, that is the problem of our education. We studied our own country's pillar, we don't realize it. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's the way we have been guided and trained into it. I told him, the moment I tell you, you will remember. Satyameva Jayate. He said immediately, yes, yes. I said, tell me, how many adults do you find today who start telling lies? And particularly in India. India is saying, hold on to truth if you truly want to win. And look carefully, we all want to win. We don't want suffering. We don't want sickness and disease and poverty and relationship problem. And we are in it. Why? Because we are failing to face the reality. And what we are calling reality is this body, name and form. Schopenhauer, German writer, he's written 4 huge volumes on this world and well-being. English translation, in which he is saying that Upanishad has transformed my life as living. Every night he had to read a couple of, and it was, if you all recollect, we had talked about it, Dara Shikoh, he, Aurangzeb, Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh, he translated the Upanishad in Persian, and that got translated in Latin, which landed up in Schopenhauer. That dry Latin translation, he says, this is the solace of my living world, and it will be solace of when I leave my body. And there are such beautiful things are available today. There is Philip Goldberg. He's written, I don't know if you've come across, American Veda. This book, I just now have it. I'll show you the book after this. He's written on Paramahansa Yogananda. In American Veda, he's talking about the Americans, those who are knowledgeable do not know that the entire American's mental frame and the working and the growth is because of Swami Vivekananda, how he has transformed the thinking process. He's calling it American Veda. how the American philosophy of thinking, Emerson, they call it Emerson, they call him, his autobiography writers, they call him, he's the mind of America. Emerson saying that he was the collector of the largest collection of Indian Upanishads and Vedanta. And he is the mind of America. What saddens me is that mother of ours is our Vedanta, our rich heritage Upanishad. We have totally forgotten about it. Our intention is to take this little journey and take across. Vidyaranya Swami, about 700 years ago, wrote Panchadashi, 15 verses on Advaita Vedanta. On the 4th verse, he's talking about that this creation of God, theistic religion says what? Now, you, Babaji, Divine Mother, Krishna, Shiva, Brahma, Maheshwara, God has created this universe. The question comes in, if God has created this universe, see, what does it say?
God really exists, why do we then suffer?
This is the book I was talking about. So this is for all of you today. If God has created this universe, then why are we suffering? Tell me, which human mother or father will make their children suffer? But we do a session on this next sometime. But this is the question. God has created this universe. So you ask the Panditji, the Rishis, the Purohit, they say, okay, the Guru, where is God? Can I see God? You know what you were talking about. They said, yes, you can see. When? After you die. When you go to heaven. They're very safe. After I die, I cannot come back and catch him, no? I can't see God there. So in which the biggest problem of Tao time is faith. You have to have faith. So if you look at carefully, there are lots of religion, amongst many Hindu religions too. Ramanujam, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishta. This Swaminarayan temple, magnificent, wonderful temple. But goes on that belief. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. It is Ajinkya Veda Ved, Gauri Veda Ved Upanishad, based on Upanishad, and they have forgotten the Upanishad part of it, but they're proceeding. It's doing wonderful. They're doing very good work, spreading all over the world. What they need to also know the origination. How did it come about? Where are we? Practice whatever. The beauty about the Advaita Vedanta, which is Paramahansa Ramakrishna, his guru, Totapuri. Totapuri is, we have mentioned before, Shankaracharya is Puri Sampradaya. Shankaracharya Puri. So Totapuri. We all don't know, actually Swami Vivekananda's name is Swami Vivekananda Puri. So somebody caught him in Himalaya. He was walking around. He said, Naam kya hai? He said, Swami Vivekananda. And he knew that he is from Puri Sampradaya. He said, he told Swami Vivekananda, Puri kidhar gaya? So he said, Puri kachori ban gaya. He told, you don't have to get onto the Sampradaya belief. You discover who we really are, and which is called that type. I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. In which he's talking about, why do you have to have faith? You experience yourself right now. You can experience. You have no doubt that you are right now here in this ashram sitting down. There is no doubt in that. But you have doubt. Where is God? And that's the biggest problem in the Tao base, and it is going on. There has to be a book. All religion, if you look carefully, there's a book. You have to have faith in the book. There's a one child asked me the other day, is it, sir, right now Eid is going along. He said, sir, Muslims, they read Quran. Christians read Bible. Why don't we read Vedanta Upanishad? A very good question. See, they all are reading Quran all the time, Bible all the time. Every Sunday they have Bible meeting. Every day you're supposed to do. The answer is, I don't know, plagiarism, copying. Krishna was the first plagiarist. He copied the entire Upanishad onto Bhagavad Gita. And you can see some of them are direct from Upanishad. And he brought that Upanishad into our life. So Vedanta is what? Vedanta is Bhagavad Gita, is Upanishad, and is Brahma Sutra. They're the three things, primarily. And Krishna had made it so palatable. So I told the tribe, you read Bhagavad Gita, no? You are reading Vedanta Upanishad. And if you don't read, start. Now, there is a benefit of Tao kind of religion. Is whenever there is a doubt in your mind, whenever you feel weak, you can always say, God, 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 please help me. And we say what? We have come to this understanding very simple. Where is consciousness? Consciousness is everywhere. And Taittiriya Upanishad says, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. Brahman is Sat, existent, Jnanam, knowledge. On the last Sunday we talked about it. Anantam, infinite, is Brahman, is Ishvara, definition of God. No other religion gives definition of God. Vedanta talked about thousands of years ago. So, in that, the God does exist, but that God exists, we are saying the problem is, you say, not here, there. But there the biggest problem is, God is somebody else, and you are somebody else. So, Arjuna Krishna, friend, Sakha Bhav, Hanumanji Rama. Rama asked, you recollect? Rama asked, what do you think of me? Who do you think I am? Hanumanji said, Deha Buddhya Dasoham. When I think of myself as a body, I'm your servant. And he goes on to say that Jiva Buddhya, when I look at myself as a sentient being, as a name, body, form, functions, then I'm your friend. And we are part. I'm part of you. And then he goes ahead and says, Atma Buddhya. The moment I look at myself as the Atman, as the consciousness, you and I are not separate. We are one. This oneness. So what are we talking about? Western doing and Eastern being. We must combine, both put together, East and West together. Elitists of the Western of the science and the ancient being, and couple it, understand it, know it. After you know it, practice whatever you like, but know it. That look, I am worshipping Mother Kali. I am worshipping Paramahamsa Ramakrishna. I am worshipping Krishna. I am worshipping Shiva. Go ahead. But know that I am going to the journey where Krishna and I will be one. I am not one now because I am deeply entwined with this body and the flesh. But this is not me. Yes, I'm using my body like I often say, use your mobile, no? Use your car. You use your motorbike to come down here. You say, this is my car, my motorbike. Do you say that is me? You say, this is my house. Do you say, this is me? You use your my mobile. That's my mobile. That mobile only with you. But the moment, I ask you, where is Robbin Ghosh? Here. So we straight away say, this is me. So the question comes up, this duality. The dualistic people, Dvaita Vishishta particularly, they are Sankhya philosophies. There's a beautiful statement by Shankaracharya. He says, Sankhya tamam jnanam nasti. There is no knowledge bigger than Sankhya knowledge. But this Sankhya is not the Sankhya philosophy. It is the Sankhya, is the Atma Jnana. And he says, Yoga tamam balam nasti. There is no bigger power than the power of the yoga. So, if it is, that is, he's talking about the Patanjali yoga. That is, they are talking about yoga when we understand. But here the yoga is nothing else but focusing, concentration. So they did a research in US, they're doing all these studies. They followed, there are many types of meditation. It's about 108 types of meditation. And Kashmiri Shaivism, Vedantic meditation, Vidyaranas, Apurokshanapati has got 15 types of meditation. Then Drigdrisha Viveka has got 6 different types of meditation. And like that, Buddhist, there are lots of meditations type. They did the research, what the common thing in all the meditation. They did a special workshop after all the meditation. They did a retreat and they found all the meditation is leading to one thing is called attention or concentration. That what you call, let's say, trataka. You keep looking at it. Now, we have the top, the mountain, the peak. Top is the, let's say, self-realization. We are going up with the doubt of religion. And there we have doubts, but through bhakti and karma and Raja Yoga, you're going, you will reach there. You will attain. What is the problem? Ancient India talked about problem of our suffering is nothing else your mind. And that comes from where? The moment we bring in duality. Duality is meaning what? This is Robbin Ghosh. I am not you. You are and different. You got a different name, different gender, different body. You are different. You're separate. So this separatedness is the suffering. And why does it come? Human mind. That human mind is creating the trouble. So when you go out to the Dvaitavad and reach the top, then you realize that you attain that samadhi state. But Advaitavadis are saying, all right, you become one. You've attained samadhi now. You're one with Brahman. What happens when you come out of samadhi? This world is back again to you. And you're looking at the world still separate. But this is here, the beautiful explanation is thousands of waves, ocean. I asked that couple yesterday, one of them was that about the Ashok Stamba. Second, I asked him, I said, see, I'll give you a quick glimpse of it. It's not just sitting down and trying to understand Vedanta, but if you just gently, with an open mind, sit down, it's very easy. It's not difficult. I used to think in the beginning, my God, Vedanta, how are we going to learn? And suddenly we realized with the divine grace, it's not complicated. It's been so simple, made by our ancient rishis. I asked him, you're enjoying California, Pacific Ocean, Goa, Bombay, thousands of waves. You're enjoying the wave, maybe surfing, maybe swimming, maybe chasing the wave. Waves have water in it, correct? Said yes. I said, Vedanta is saying wrong. So what do you mean waves don't have water in it? I said, what? Vedanta saying, what waves don't have water in it? Even ocean doesn't have water in it. He said, what are you talking? So then I showed him, I said, look, this glass has water in it. I can separate the water, I can separate the glass. From glass full of water, it becomes two now. One water, one glass. Can I take away the water from the wave? Will the wave be there? No. I said, can I take away the water from the ocean? Will it be there? He said, no. I said, this is what exactly in the 4th chapter Vidyaran was talking about of the Panchadashi. He said, it is the water itself has chosen to be the wave, the bubble, the froth, the cloud, the rain, the dirty puddle on the street, or a glass of water here, or the wave of the ocean. It is that itself, the water itself. It is the consciousness itself has chosen to be us. Existence consciousness. We are generally used to, this is why Asha is so famous. We are all used to put a name and a form and a function. Our intention is go ahead and put name, form and function. Put God into a temple, do worship, take care, utilize your bhakti yoga, karma yoga, work selflessly, practice focusing, concentration, Raja Yoga. But also know, be aware. So now when we are talking about this world of imagination, which is today's gentle, general, God has created this universe. Vedanta is saying, God has created this universe, certainly, but not alone. God has created your universe, and this is why Chesterton statement comes in. That little cosmos that we hold around ourselves, if some super hammer can come down and shatter that world, suddenly you find that this name, body, form, functions that don't exist. But we do act like an app. Body is an app, name is an app. We have to perform. We have to maintain this body. We have to do those physical actions and things like that. Certainly. But knowing all the time. So what happens when you become Paramahansa? Vivekananda, Jesus Christ, Buddha. He is a wave, Ramakrishna wave. Now what happens? He realizes, I'm not wave. I'm playing the role of this wave, but I'm actually water. And I enjoy this universe created by God, which is what is actually it meant that this is the play, this is the Maya. in which it's not changing. How do I change it? So this samsara, which is our suffering, samsara duksha sarvasara, Krishna telling Arjuna, this samsara is nothing else but our creation. God has not created. There is a saint from Tapiyal Sir's land, Uttaranchal, says, ईश्वर के दुनिया में ईश्वर किसी को दुख नहीं देते भला. It is not. Who is giving the suffering then? We are giving to ourselves. By what? By our karma. What work we have done. Supposing I don't recollect, he says, you say God has created the universe in consultation with you. I don't remember God talking to me that this is my world and this is how it is. And that is where it comes in, that we unknowingly, unconsciously continue to do things without realizing that every action has an opposite and equal reaction. Search science. Talking about the quantum thing. We are talking about this material world. Now I dissect, go down, cutting it down and come to atoms, molecules, atoms, subatomic particle, electron, neutron, proton. Correct me if I'm wrong. And further, meson, boson, electric, cryon. They're what? Tiny, tiny particles. You can't even see a boson. Dr. Jagadish Chandra Bose, on who the boson was named, you had to use a microscope to see it. But just think, those tiny, tiny particles are the ones which are creating. And when you break it down further, what comes? The ultimate is information and energy. Correct? Information and energy. What energy is this? Infinite possible energy. What is it? And information, data. Information is coming from, this is what we talked about the other day. What do you think? How you think? God has given us this powerful process called thinking. But we are utilizing it for doing what? Negative thinking. Worrying. We're not using it towards. But notice, T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, is saying, all men and women dream, but wake up in the middle of the night, in the recesses of the night, and say, oh, it was only a dream. And he's saying, dangerous are the men and women who dream with their eyes open, because they make their dreams come true. What is this dreaming? It is that vision you're creating, you're thinking about it. If you look carefully, whatever we are today, whatever we have done today, accomplished today, because we thought about it. We did it. Whether you wanted to become a mommy, you decided, let's create a baby. You thought. We don't realize it. We are not conscious of our consciousness. We are unconscious of our consciousness. And that powerful. Anything that you can think of has consciousness. Originally, I used to have doubt, how does this have consciousness? And if it has, plants have consciousness, we know. A lot of research has gone in. What about this? The mountains, the rocks. So a beautiful explanation I came across from Upanishad. He said, you see, because we got Sthula Sharira, this is the body, then we got Sukshma Sharira, and we got Karana Sharira. So Sukshma Sharira is Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Maramaya Kosha, like Jnanamaya and Anandamaya. Those koshas are not there with this. Because it doesn't have, then you cannot see that consciousness in them. But there is nothing in the universe which doesn't have Satyam Jnanam. What is it? Consciousness and existence. We are used to saying what? Computer exists. My mobile is there. Isness, existence. Vedanta is saying no. It is existence that become mobile. Ocean of existence, ocean of consciousness, both put together. They're not separate. They're one. I asked often, think about something which doesn't have the property called existence. You will start to think, what is there which is doesn't have existence? We are not realizing anything which doesn't have existence is the opposite of existence. Which is what? Which is not existing. It doesn't exist. So you cannot have anything in this universe which doesn't have existence. So existence is the computer. Existence is me. Existence is the house, the mountain, the dog, the dolphin, everything. And I, through the consciousness, I experience that existence. You all have heard about Maya. Consciousness, as per Kashmiri Shaivism, there is duality there, Shiva and Prakriti, Maya. Shiva you cannot experience. You cannot experience consciousness, but you become aware of it. What's the difference? You recollect that chart. That's a simple chart. We had made it for children and everybody. There's a huge consciousness which is influencing the mind with a little energy, like the sun gives it to the moon. If that sunlight doesn't go to the moon, you can't see the moonlight at night. But we are unconscious of that. So we look at the moonlight and we say, what a beautiful moon. We never say that is sun's light. It's not moon's light. You know, we know because we have studied it, but we're not aware of it. That moon's light empowers, or that sun's light empowers the moon to throw the light. That consciousness empowers the mind to receive the data from the senses and through the body. To, let's say, the optic nerve picks up a clock. Clock hasn't entered my eye. Light falls on it. It comes and enters through the eye cornea, creates an image in my optical lens, and sends a tiny, tiny electrical particles to the brain neurons. Neurons make connection, become synapses, which in turn send the message to the mind. Mind cannot do anything until and unless that reflective consciousness from consciousness has empowered the mind. What is the opposite? Unconscious. If you're unconscious, can you see the world? If you're in coma, can you see the world? And if I'm dead, it is zero consciousness. In coma, there is tiny bit of consciousness. So that's how things are going on. That's why we're in coma. Unconscious state, there is consciousness. Deep sleep state, there is consciousness. That's how when you wake up from deep sleep consciousness, there was a beautiful conference in Calcutta, and there is this neuroscientist. He came down from UK and he was doing a session, and there were a lot of Vedantists from Ramakrishna Mission and other were attending. So there was one British Vedantist also. He's a follower of Ramakrishna Mission. He asked the other Vedantist, who's a neuroscientist, tell me, in deep sleep, do you have consciousness or no? So the neuroscientist, he's a scientist, he's not a surgeon. He said, no, in consciousness, in a deep sleep, you do not have consciousness. He said, that's the difference. And he's also another British, but he's an Advaitavadi. He said, you know what? As per Vedanta, in the deep sleep, only thing existing is the consciousness. And you say it is not there. You tell me one thing which is not having consciousness. So this consciousness and the existence put together has made the world. And now comes in creating the world by ours. What is our contribution? God's world and our world, both put together have made our own little, and they're called the imaginations. And this is what we keep saying, your subconscious mind, which is what? Reflective consciousness. Joseph Murphy and all that had talked about power of subconscious mind. It's a very famous Western word. It is true. But much, much more powerful is the consciousness direct. Why are we operating through it? We have forgotten our Vedanta. Western world is discovering it now, more and more and more. The moment we realize it, when I say I, it's that big I, not the small I. Small I is the name, body, and form. The big I is the consciousness. And which is what Paramahansa Ramakrishna is saying, I am not a wave, I am a water. And all these waves are also water. That means none of us are separate. As he said, my mother sitting right in front. Yes. So notice, if you think that your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your children, your parent, your colleague, your enemies, they're nothing else but consciousness. Yes, with a different name, body, form. But the consciousness is what is prevailing, is what he truly is. Only thing he doesn't know. So Ratnakar didn't know. Narad Muni came and told him, you are not this. You know the story. And he said, okay, Ratnakar realized, nobody wants to share my crime. Okay, I want to change. He said, okay, say Ram. Do Japa Ram. He couldn't say Ram. He was so badly, created crime, as the story goes. Narad Muni is very smart. He said, okay, say Ma Ram. Have you noticed? Mara, 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 it becomes Rama, Rama. Have you noticed Gita, Gita, Gita? If you say same thing happens. Actually, the essence of Gita is what? Tyagi. Tyag what? This samsara, this name, form and function. The entire Upanishad, if you want to summarize into one sentence, Swami Sarvapriyananda, his Manhattan Vedanta ashram is just a block away from the Central Park, which is the beautiful park. He goes there for a walk. One day he's talking, I went for a walk, and there are a lot of hippies there. They sing, this dance, bare-bodied. He said, one hippie, long white hair, bare chest. He said, hey, you look like the real thing. He said, I tried to make a hasty retreat from there. I just smiled at them. He said, wait, you look like the real thing. Tell me one thing, just one thing. Sarvapriyananda said, it became so easy for me because of Vedanta. And he said, I just told him, Tat Tom Asi, you are that. And he said, he got it. He understood it. He said, wow, cool, man. This is what we need to understand. Now, how can you fight with your husband or wife? Why do we fight? Jesus Christ, in Sermon on the Mount, he's saying, blessed are the poor in soul, for they shall inherit the earth. Poor in soul. What does it poor mean? It poor meaning those who are very humble. So if you're humble, what would you do? The other guy is saying, two desert priests, desert fathers, the Christians in Egypt desert, they go on to retreat in the desert and live in the desert intentionally. Jesus had gone to desert for a while for practicing. So two desert fathers said, let's fight like these people of the world, how they fight, let's fight. So the other guy said, if you want to do it, okay, what do we have to do? He says, see this rock, I will say this is mine. You say, no, this is mine. Okay? So let's start. So this desert father said, this rock is mine. The other desert father said, of course it is yours. The moment you do what? No ego. That means Holy Mother Sharada, there's a beautiful notebook. I'll share with you. I always carry it in my pocket. Paramahansa Ramakrishna's one book and her one book. It says, if you want peace in your life, my child, don't find fault with others. The moment you find fault, meaning what are you saying? You're separate, I'm separate. The moment you don't find fault, you know there's a different name, body function, different work culture, different maybe karma phal. But you say, but that's not her. She doesn't know, poor girl. Divine Mother of the Universe, help her. Give her. And this is what Paramahansa Ramakrishna used to say. Ask for Chaitana. When you pray, ask for Chaitana. Chaitana is consciousness. May I be conscious. And the moment you're conscious, you realize I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that. Nicaragua's that book you must have read, I am that. The moment you start to realize I am that Aham Brahmasmi. You notice all the four Mahavakyas, they talked about it, they're meaning the same thing. Tat Tvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. Prajnana Brahman. I am Atman Brahman. They're all meaning the same thing. And there are four major Mahavakyas, but there are many, many other Mahavakyas which are there. This Ishwar is giving us this world, that little cosmos which should be shattered by the hammer of one special God, is nothing else. That cosmos is by our imagination and our thought process, and we create it around us. So the moment, know the power of your thought, but use it for the welfare, which is called selfless work, karma yoga. Use it for the others. And you notice there's a famous statement, do you want anything? You want love. You have to give love. Then only you will get love. You want name, fame, and give name and fame to other people. Suppose you're owning a company, you make sure those people get name and fame. Company will rise, automatically you will get name and fame. This is what Krishnamurti says. This is what I do. I make sure everybody wins. The moment everybody wins, I'll automatically win. Journey is not complicated. Paramahansa Ramakrishna used to say, Mojar Dunya. It's filled with fun. But why are we suffering? Suffering because we've isolated ourselves with the name and the form. What should we do now? Start to realize, practice everything that we know. Practice through selfless work for the welfare of people, children, families. Start with your own wife, own husband. I do pranam to Shardama every day. I think you are the Durga Mata. I better not act funny with you. You know, the other day was 15th of March, which was the Women's Day. They had a Women's Day function. They say, sir, please speak. They finish the function. We celebrate all. I said, you all have spoken enough. Sir, please say something. I said, what do you want me to talk about? Sir, empowerment of the woman. You know, the women are suffering in the world, discrimination, sex discrimination, all that stuff is going on. I said, okay. I said, do you know what? You all are fools. He said, meaning? I said, tell me, can you sweeten sugar? You know? I said, how can you empower women? They are the Shakti. And Shaivism, in the dualistic, Shiva is the consciousness, Mother is the Maya, is the Shakti. You know, to experience consciousness, you have to give name, form, and function. And that's where the Maya comes. Without Maya, Maya is the one creating everything as per Shaivism. But you can't do anything if Maya is not there. Then what happens? Somebody said, what if I annihilate everything? Meaning everything is gone. Totally. Then what remains? Vedanta answers very simply, only consciousness remains. But you cannot experience it. To experience it, you have to have the world. And world is Maya. And this is why, as per Dvaita. But Advaita is saying what? He said, you are the consciousness. You are the one. So God's universe and your imagination, both put together. And as you transcend, then the other part of the Advaita journey to the top of the peak, you realize you and God are not separate, you are one. And that is what, you know, the moment you say you're enlightened, what did Buddha say? Buddha, you recollect, it means the one who knows. The one who knows. What? Knows what? He knows there is no separation. That's what will come to us. Enlightened meaning doesn't mean poof and the world vanishes suddenly. No. Only thing I come to know, I become aware. So what I do, I smile. You notice grandparents, grandfathers, when the baby, your grandson, 9 months old, no? When he does some mischief or something, you're indulgent. You say, okay. बड़ा होके ठीक हो जाएगा. No? Like the grandfather. If you look at it in the Babylonian history, like Noah's Ark, there was in Babylonian history also, there was something like similar story. God got very disturbed as per that story. Why? Because human beings are making a lot of noise. And his sleep was getting disturbed as per that story. So he said, destroy everybody. And similar, like Noah's Ark, couple of every animal, insect, they put it into that ship and flood the whole world. So let us come into the understanding with very simple common sense and application of our that intelligence, mind, mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, 4 things. That is the sukshma sharira which is going on and carries our karma. Body dies, body will be cremated or buried. It's gone. The sukshma sharira is not gone. Every action what you do today is going to come back to you. And it's called boomerang karma. It has to come back to you. And this is why our elders, our gurus say, no, shubh shubh bolo, shubh shubh karo. Vijay sir always tell me, I'm always enjoying. He is creating a lot of beautiful harmony around. I love his messages, God's creation, enjoy. Yeah, it is beautiful. Enjoy this world, this beautiful world. Enjoy your surrounding, knowing. It is like, you notice, hero and heroine acting on the stage. Heroine's husband may be sitting there, hero's wife may be sitting there. After they played a very love scene, good love scene. They come down and that acting is over. Now they're with their so-called real husband, wife on this earth. So, the moment you realize that you are the water in the ocean and the wave, you realize everybody else is water. The moment you realize your consciousness, you know you are consciousness, you are Brahman. Everybody, everything in this universe is Brahman. Suddenly, tada drishti swarupa avasthana. Why are we doing meditation? Why do we meditate? This mind, because of karma, has created a lot of vritti. Let's say you suddenly feel like Asha wants to have a coffee. That's called now, suddenly a coffee vritti has come up. And it is creating irritation. Let's have some coffee. But the beauty is, supposing you feel like, let's say, I want to have jalebi, hot jalebi. You have hot jalebi, you're happy, but it doesn't get erased. It will again come up. Coffee will again come up. You thought I've had coffee, now it is finished. It is never finished. It is like putting ghee on the fire. It will all be. So, what is meditation doing? It is bringing a separation from you and your mind. Separating yourself. You is who? You are the consciousness. And you are observing. And this is why I got that message in my meditation. What is the guideline? Very simple. Let it come. What thoughts, ideas, messages, whatever. Let it be. And let it go. I am observing. And then realize this awakened world, like right now, we are in the awakened world. Waking, Jagrata, Mandakya Upanishad. But I cannot experience this without this consciousness. Consciousness is allowing me to experience everything. So I am looking at the Turiya, which is the fourth state. Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, Turiya. We are not aware of Turiya. We are aware of my world is waking, dreaming and sleeping. No, there is the fourth world. And as per Mandakya Upanishad, that the fourth is actually the seed by which you have your dream, your deep sleep and your awakened state. So what are they? Actually, they're not real. When we say this world is not real, what does it mean? It is like a very good example is a TV screen. If you take the anomaly, TV screen is the consciousness. And the movies which are playing inside, hero, heroine, chase, whatever is happening, notice, screen is not affected. Whether it is love scene going on, chasing a villain scene going on, or King Kong coming and destroying the Empire Tower, whatever, screen is untouched. And notice, screen is not bothered whether there's a movie running or not movie running. You and I, that consciousness. The moment you and I, this is what it means. So when you meditate, what happens? That vritti, which is trouble in the lake, what happens is trouble in the lake, mind is the lake. Comparison, Vivekananda used to talk about it. In Raja Yoga is talking. When there is brittle wave, you can't see the bottom of the lake. Bottom of the lake is who? You and I. Actually, we are. But we can't see it because the water is muddy and choppy and turbulent. Why do we meditate? That mind becomes calm. You bring a separation between you, who we are truly, from the mind, which is not us. Then in Samadhi, what is happening? You go beyond mind. Man ke paar chale jao. In Uttaranchal, they keep saying. In awareness, Advaita about what is happening, you become aware. Same thing is happening. You reach now also the top of the peak. You're becoming aware, I'm not this. Yes, I use it. I use the body, I use the name, I use my role as the husband, as the boss of the company or the worker of the company. There's a role I have to play. And this is where in Advaita says, very simple, you don't have to run off to mountain in the cave and go and do Om Namah Shivaya 1,000 times and think of your family. This is what we used to say in fighter flying. When you're going for fighter flying, yeah, you're talking about girls and wives and family and children. And when you come to social gathering, when your wife and children and family and girlfriends are there with you, you're talking about flying. This is exactly what we are doing here. It should be where you are, what you are, you're supposed to be doing that. That non-dual reality with the power of the Maya. Brahman plus Maya. Shiva plus Prakriti is Ishvara. In theistic religion, you say Mother Kali, Mother Durga, Mother Vaishnav, and Mother Saraswati and Lakshmi and like that. There was a seminar going on in Guru Nanak Ji's 300 years Sardars were doing it somewhere near Bangalore. So they had invited spiritual leaders from all over the world. There were some Buddhists also there. And each one of them were talking about, going and talking about how great is my Guru, how great is my God. And these Buddhists, they don't believe in God. Jainis, they don't believe in God. They believe in Buddha, they believe in Jain. So they were all with their head down, they were smiling away. Very polite, didn't disturb anyone. So they said, what God? A beautiful picture they took. This is what we talked about the other day called Upadhi. Upadhi, it's a Sanskrit term, and they're utilizing that you take this crystal, you see that crystal? You take the crystal and put a red rose at the back. Crystal looks red. You put a yellow rose, it looks yellow. So what this Buddhist monk, what he did, he put an orange juice in a breakfast table. And in front of it, a white, plain glass of water. Both the same looking glass. One has orange juice, one has water. And he took a picture, just aligned it in such a way, and he gave it to this Dvaitavadi friend. And he said, what do you see? He said, why? What's so difficult? 2 glasses of orange juice. He said, no. Come, I'll show you. And he took him to the breakfast table. He said, see, this is the picture I took. So this is the picture that we are doing living. It appears. Snake is not snake. It appears as snake. It is a rope or maybe a garland. Or maybe, as per Vedanta example, Shankaracharya is saying maybe it's a crack on the earth. It appears as snake because insufficient light. What is insufficient light? Insufficient knowledge. We are ignorant. Waves, an ocean, and the waterfall, everything appears as another thing. Same thing, you and I are appearing as something. So what do? In their meditation, you're doing that practice. Tada drishti, your observations now makes it clear to make you see Swarupa, your true nature. And you see Avasthana, you see, this is who I am. Tameva Bhrantam is talking about when you shine, Anubhati Sarva. Everything else shines in the world when you shine, meaning when you are conscious. Then only you see the world. Otherwise, you can't see the world. And when you shine, Sarvam Idam Vibhati. Then only the whole world will shine. So now, if we are aware of it, now you can do anything, whatever you want. You want to practice as in the culture of Islam or Christianity or Jainism or Buddhism or whatever it is, knowing this is something else. I'm doing this ritual practices through that practice. So then what happens? Sarva Dharma is actually one. It's a pond. Somebody is saying it's water. Somebody is saying no, ye pani. Somebody is saying jal. Somebody is saying you in French. Everything is one. You call it God, Allah, Christ, Krishna, whatever name. Once this understanding comes up, we go to an understanding that this universe which is being projected to us, you notice the same picture, you will see it differently because of your education and knowledge, and that your servant will see it differently. And that one who is totally ignorant or a baby doesn't understand anything. So it depends on your wisdom and your knowledge. Going on to we do what? As we see this, we look at the world and we say, I like it. I love it. I got to have it. You know, in Switzerland, they have an ice cream shop. They got 3 different cones. I like it. It's a small one. I have to have it. It's a little bigger cone. I got to have it. It's another bigger cone. So which one do you want? This is the world is actually like that. So it's called Priya. You like. We are making judgments with our mind. And then Apriya. No, I don't like it. I don't like that guy. I hate his face. Wife says, I don't like him. Husband says, he's my school friend. From baby's age we have grown up together. What's wrong with him? No, I don't like him. Priya, Apriya. And Upasthana, doesn't matter. This is how we are perceiving. All 3 are fundamentally, if you look carefully, it's wrong and misguided. It's all colored by our mind. So what they say in the Himalayas, man ki paar chale jao. Go have to, and that is what we're doing, calming down the mind through the meditation, so that we can see through. You can see a little coin also lying. There's a beautiful statement one monk sharing with another monk in Himalaya, in Gangotri. You know, from Gangotri, Gomukhi, the river, Alkananda and Bhagirathi. Bhagirathi is coming out from there, joins up with Alkananda at Rudraprayag. No, at Devaprayag. So there the water is falling down and these 2 monks are sitting and there's an apple tree there. So he plucked one apple and they were eating together. So evening at about 4 o'clock actually happened. So the senior monk is telling the junior, can you see that water? Our mind is like that water. Is it like what? You see, right now, we are yogis. We are fellow travelers in this journey. Our mind is pure, crystal, like this water now. Winter's time, crystal clear. You can see, if you throw a coin, you can see at the bottom of the bed. The coin is visible. But if a little later, rainy season will start. The same water will become so muddy. And not only muddy, now that water is very pure and good, and you and I would love to carry it to our home. I have carried that water 3-4 times. I'm lucky to have Kailash Mansarovar also water. And you know what? They don't get spoiled. It must be more than 15 years water lying there in the puja room. I keep tasting it, visualizing, transporting you there. Nothing happens to that water. And during that rainy season time, it's so muddy, and not only that, it's got tremendous current. So what happened? You will get swept away. It will kill people. So his statement was, Vishay ka man vaisa hota hai. One gentleman comes from Delhi. You know, we say, the higher the monk lives in Himalaya, the higher that he is. So he goes from Delhi, goes to Rishikesh, Lakshmanjula, and goes up to the mountain and reaches there, and he said, Maharaj, please help me. My mind is troubled, painful. I don't feel like living. So the Maharaj told him, you practice this. Go and practice. You're how many days? He said, about 7 days. He said, don't worry. Practice. But notice, who's experiencing the suffering? He said, me. He said, no, it is not you. It is your mind is experiencing, and you're not your mind. And he gave him a little talk and made him understand. He said, I'm so happy you've given me. He felt elated. He went and practiced. How? I am not my mind and body. And he came back and he told Maharaj after about 5-6 days, he said, Maharaj, I'm so happy. I'm so blissful. I'm so cheerful. Thank you so much. And he did pranam and all that. Maharaj said, wait. You are not happy. It is your mind which is happy. You have to understand that. Either the happiness or the sadness or the suffering, it is all the mind with the body which is experiencing. You are detached. You are detached, like I talked about a little while ago. Like this light, sunlight, falls on dirty something on the road. Does it get dirty? No. Will the sunlight become drunk if it falls on a pitcher of wine or a beer? No. Will it, if it falls on a holy river Ganga, will it get holy? No. Sunlight is ever detached. You are that light. And our journey towards all these practices, without any embargo, don't have any blocks. Be free to accept everything, everywhere, see the divinity that's supreme. And know that when I shine, you notice when you smile in the mirror, mirror doesn't scowl back at you. When you smile at the people, when you smile at the world, world smiles back at you. When you give them joy, joy comes back to you. When you give them love, love comes back to you. When you give them jnanam, jnanam danena vardate. The moment you give knowledge, knowledge will come back to you. Somebody asked me what happens to money. I said, the same thing. He said, but I don't have. I got only 10 rupees. I said, give the 10 rupees. You know, sometime back, long time back, in the beginning in this journey, I'm talking about 1991, 92, somewhere that time. Asha wasn't born also. Okay. So there is that Bandgarden Bridge, and there is Shiva Mandir. So they had a very powerful Rudraksha Mela. I was beginning to get interested in Rudraksha. I was doing little study, research. I said, let's go down and see it. So we went and saw. As we going in, so there was that temple, the little beggar, he did like that. So I had put my hand, and I had 5-6 teachers with me. I put my hand, and a 10 rupee note came up. So I give it to him. Some of the teachers said, sir, that's too much, sir. That time, 1991, 10 rupees was quite a lot. Today, 20 rupees is also not much. I said, it's okay. Remember what I said? When somebody does like this, you have to give it. Now, I was talking. I wasn't still fully understanding that phenomena. When we finished after 2 hours almost spent, when we came out, same guy was there. And I felt like saying, Abhi to diya tha. As I was about to say it, something slapped my face. Shut up. Your duty is to give. I put my hand inside, and it was some other denomination, slightly bigger. Don't recollect exactly. And I was hesitating. Should I? No, it's your duty to give. Give it. And later on, I felt so happy. There's one of my Muslim gentlemen. He lives just the opposite society. I was talking to him one day. We were sitting here. He said, sir, exactly this is what happened to me. I said, what happened? He had gone to Sumaira. In Iraq, you got a great mosque, and all Muslim people dream of going down there. I was lucky to have been there sometime. So he was talking about it. We were discussing. He said, you know what? As we were going in, there was one couple sitting with 2-3 kids and looking distressed. So he said, while going, I saw him looking distressed, down. And in a mosque, somebody like that. So he said, I just told him, Salam, any problem? He said, I've lost all my money, my passport, everything is gone. I don't have anything now, and I don't know what to do. Now what, his name is, he's got he's a builder, Akbar Shatranjwala, who's my friend. And he's also got a shoe shop in Dole Patil Road. Shoe King or something is the name. He was telling me, I put all my money in the lady where I was staying in her locker. I said, you keep it there with you. I'll just take $200 with me. So he had taken $200. So he and his friend both were there. So that guy, he looked at his friend. He said, De do kya? Friend said. So he took out $200 and gave it to him. And he went and it felt very good, came back. And after coming back, he's saying that we wanted to have a cup of coffee. And suddenly I realized that how will I have coffee? I don't have any money, I think. I don't have any money. He asked his friend, do you? He said, no, you told me you're carrying 200, no? So Akbar sir says, I felt, what is this? Allah, I wanted coffee. And he says, I put my hand, I had put the $200 in my right pocket. I put my hand inside the pocket. Suddenly from the left pocket, he found another $200. He said, exactly this is what happened to me. It happened to me a couple of times. Once, I recollect strongly, Singapore. You have the dollar card. So I had a dollar card. And I remember I had spent on the last visit on that Singapore, whatever was there, I'd finished. So there was must be $7, $8, $10 was there left. That shopkeeper, he said, can you pay me by Singapore dollar? Then I'll give you at this price, which was inviting, good price. I said, okay, you try this card. I don't think it has. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. I'll buy it with this. Another card. He swiped it and he said, okay. He gave the card back. I said, it had money? He said, yes. I don't know how much because they don't know. Only thing, it didn't bounce. I said, really? I went outside and I put it into the Paytm, and it said it had some 1,400 some dollars. I said, how did it get $1,400 in it? And I was talking to Sharda. I said, how did it get? And we were thinking. Then I realized what had happened is, there you get a duty free, right? So whatever you buy and you paid the duty here, you get a refund there. So they asked, do you want cash or do you want? I said, no, I don't want cash. You put it in the car. So it was there and it was waiting there for all this time. Where does it come from? How does it make a difference? It will come back. Kindness, love, good relationship, perfection, everything. Remembering our status, who we really are. Check.